Hi, I'm shooting this video to show how I teach the three sounds of ed. Ed is a suffix that we usually use to show the past tense form of verbs or action words. For example, um, pasted, glued. So when do we use the three sounds of ed? What are the three sounds, and when do we use those three sounds? That's what I'm going to show you. This is for parents who have asked me before how I teach the sound. So here's ed. Ed, as we know, is usually used to show past tense form of verbs. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this on a whiteboard, and pardon my bad handwriting because I'm using a yeah, stylus. Okay, so the three sounds that we use are id, and whenever I have words, a sound with two forward slashes, it the that's the sound in between those two forward slashes. It's how we say it phonetically. And then d and t. So these are the three sounds. And how when do we use id sound? When do we use d sound? And when do we use t sound? So, for example, when you have words like folded, boarded, hunted, rented. So, as you can see, this is the root word and this is our suffix ed. And in fact, our visual cue for our suffix ed is usually uh, when I have them spell, I would put a circle around this line on which they would write ed. Anyway, that's our suffix ed, and I would like you to notice that we have a t at the end of the root words or a d. So folded, boarded, hunted, rented. This is when you have words that end with the root words that end with a d or a t, we pronounce the ed as id. Folded, boarded, hunted, rented. So this is a rule. First, I teach the students that when the words end with a d or a t sound, you pronounce it as id. And usually at this in this part, students do not have a problem because it's almost spelled phonetically. Like they could just go ahead and finger tap and go h, sorry, h, t, id, and then when they finger tap, they're able to spell it correctly. But when it comes to the d sound and the t sound, there is a trick to it. So when do we use the d sound? For this, I have taught them voiced and unvoiced sounds. There are sounds that are voiced, for example, b, d, um, these are all sounds that's voiced. I usually have them hold their two fingers, touch that gently on their in their throat, and then try to say the sound. Ooh, b. So when you make those sounds, we can feel the voice vibrating. Then we call it a voiced sound. For example, barbed, shelled, learned. So these are all words where the root word ends with a voiced sound. So you use the sound d, like we don't say barbed, we say barbed. We don't say shelled, we say shelled. Learned. So whenever the root word has an ending sound that's voiced, we use d sound. And now for t, obviously, it would be unvoiced. So any sound that is unvoiced, for example, these are all sounds that are unvoiced. You put your I ask them to put their fingers here and try to say those sounds. Then these sounds are unvoiced, even s. So these are all unvoiced, and that means the throat does not make that vibrating sound. So we could use the t sound. For example, crashed, um, crashed, missed, asked, um, sipped. So these are all words, as you can see. These sounds are unvoiced. So this is how I teach the three sounds of ed. um, it's they can read it. When they are reading, we correct the pronunciation, but then when it's more useful to use these three sounds visual when they are trying to spell words. I hope it's helpful.